let's come to assertive to interrogative. Assertive to interrogative. We know assertive sentence begins with subject, then verb, then object or others or extension others. So this is the structure of affirmative as the sentence begins with subject. So in that case, if we want to transform it into interrogative, then we must follow the points, some points. If the verb is in the present form, if the main verb is in the present form, then we must begins with don't. We must begin the sentence with don't. And if there is yes or yes, the sentence begins with doesn't. The sentence begins with doesn't. If the verb is in the past form, the sentence must begins with didn't. So, and then subject comes. Subject comes after don't, doesn't or didn't. Subject comes here. Then the verb is in the present form, will be in the present form. Verb in the base form, present form. Verb in the present form or base form. Then object or others, and then note of interrogation mark. Note of interrogation mark. We must put after the end of the sentence, we must put note of interrogation mark. So this is interrogative sentence. I repeat, if the sentence, assertive sentence begins with subject, then verb, then object or others, and if the verb is in the present form, and in this interrogative sentence we must begin with don't. Begin the sentence with don't, or the sentence begins with don't. If there is yes or yes in this verb, so we must use doesn't. And if there is the verb is in the past form, then we must use didn't. Then subject comes after don't, doesn't or didn't, any one of this, then subject comes here, and after subject the verb will be in the present form, and then object or others, the rest of this sentence here, and at the end of this the sentence there will be an interrogation mark. Now let's see an example. The boy goes to school every day. So here is does, goes. So goes, if the verb takes there is yes or yes, then the structure is doesn't. We must take doesn't, use doesn't. So doesn't, the sentence begins with doesn't, and then the subject comes, the boy, and go will be in the present form, so go, and to school, others what? Others go to school every day. We can see another example. He went to Dhaka last night. Here the verb went is in the past form, so if the verb is in the past form, then it takes didn't. So the sentence must begin with didn't, then subject he, then verb will be in the present form, so went in the present form, go to Dhaka last night, and at the intro there is an interrogation mark. So now let's see if there is be verb or any other modal auxiliary. Then if after the subject there will be am, is, there is am or is or are or was or where or have, has, had, shall, will, should, would, can, could, may, might, must, ought to. These are some be verb. There is be verb, or there are some modal auxiliaries. So any one of these, if in this sentence, any one of these will be in a sentence after subject, and then others what? Verb or object, or others, full stop. And these are the structure of affirmative, and in that case we must use the following tips. And this verb, if we find this verb, this will come before the subject. So if any one of this will come before the subject here. So if there is am, the am will come first. If there is will come here. So any one of this here will come, and then the subject, here, and then verb, main verb. If there is main verb, so main verb will come here, and then object or others. And we must remember, if the sentence is affirmative plus, it will be minus, and if the sentence is minus or positive, then it will be negative, and if it is negative, then the sentence will be positive. So if there is no not, the verb takes, this verb takes not. But if there is not, the verb does not take note. Now let's see example. He is a student. So he is now in the main verb, and it is also the auxiliary verb, so it comes before the subject. So there is no, it is an affirmative sentence, so here there is no not, so the verb is, takes a not, isn't, and then subject, and then others, and there will be an interrogation mark. Another example, they could not do the work. So here could, and there is not also, so it is negative, so it will be affirmative. So after the subject, before the subject, could will come first, so could and not is avoided, so they could, they and do the work. This is in interrogative sentence, assertive to interrogative. So let's see another rules. If the sentence begins with everybody or everyone, then verb plus object or others. This is the structure of assertive. So in that case, this is the structure of assertive. So everybody, instead of everybody, we must use who. The sentence begins with, the interrogative sentence begins with who, and if there is yes or yes, then the after who there will be does not, and the verb must be in the present form, verb in the present form, and the others also, the rest of the sentence, or other words, others, and at the end the sentence takes an interrogation mark. So this is the structure if the sentence begins with everybody or everyone, and the interrogative sentence will be in that structure. Now let's see an example. Everybody believes a truthful man. Everybody believes a truthful man. So instead of everybody, we must use who, and the beliefs is a verb, and here is, so after who there will be does not, so who does not, and belief will be in the present form, belief. Everybody who does not believe a truthful man, and the sentence takes an interrogation mark. If there is the sentence begins with, the assertive sentence begins with nobody or none, then verb plus object. This is the another structure. If the sentence begins with nobody or none, removing nobody or none, we must use who. Then the rest of the sentence will, so verb and object will be the same, and there is an interrogation mark. If the sentence begins with nobody or none, the interrogative sentence will be begins with who and then the rest of this. So nobody believes a liar. So who and believes, nobody, instead of nobody there will be who, and that's so who believes a liar. I repeat, if there is, the sentence begins with nobody, in the assertive sentence this sentence begins with nobody or none, then verb and object or others. Instead of nobody or none, that sentence begins with who, and then the rest of the words of the sentence, the rest of the sentence here will be. So nobody believes is a liar. So nobody will be has been changed into who. So nobody has been changed into who, and then the other words here, and believes a liar. So who believes a liar? Nobody believes a liar. Who believes a liar? And we must know some words that will be changed from assertive to interrogative, and this word will be, if there is no, that it will be any. If there is none, it will be anyone. If there is nothing, it will be anything. If there is never, it will be ever. If this word, this negative word is in a sentence, then this word will be changed into that. So if there is no, the no will be changed into any. If there is none, none will be changed into anyone. Nothing, anything. Never, ever. Nobody, anybody. Let's see an example here. There is nothing wrong with him. So there is, so is will come before the subject there. So is there, nothing will be changed into anything. Is there anything wrong with him? Is there wrong with him? Anything wrong with him?